So the biggest question and conundrum facing this newly elected National Convention is, what do we do about King Louis? What do we do about the monarch that we now have held up in the prison temple? The monarch, our ruler, who effectively for decades made us suffer in massive debt, who allowed the ancient regime to flourish, who allowed the estates, who allowed privileges to reign and contribute to people suffering. A monarch who tried to flee us and get himself across to a foreign nation in order to mount an attack upon us. What do we do with this deposed leader? So that is the biggest issue facing the National Convention as they are now sitting and as they are now convened. The deputies disagree what to do with Louis. We have the Girondins on the right who have their point of view, and we have the Jacobins on the left who have their point of view, and they're both going to fight for that undecided group to vote their way. When it comes to the Girondins, they want King Louis to stand a trial. They want to put him up there and give him the opportunity to say why he did the actions that he did and why he hasn't fully supported the revolution. But they've also got something else in the back of their mind, and that is they also want to hold Louis as a potential hostage for possible future use. What happens if Austria does actually, like Prussia, land on our soil and come towards us in Paris and mount this massive effort to take over us? Do we hold the royal family as a hostage? Do we use them as fodder later on? Do we hand them over and maybe then those countries, those foreign nations won't need to come into the nation, they'll just reside away? However, then on the left we have the Jacobins, who also can be called the Montagnards because they're up in the higher benches, they're looking down upon the Girondins and the undecided. They view him as already guilty. King Louis, you tried to leave us, you were abandoning us in our moment of need, you said that you were for the revolution and then sneakily you underhanded us and you spoiled us by trying to leave the nation. So they want to put him on trial as they knew this type of action would satisfy the large mob of people that are their supporters, the sans-culottes, who are disgruntled and want to see massive actions taking place. They knew that by putting him on trial and whatever would happen to him would make people happy. However, the Girondins won the argument to place Louis on trial. Okay, so the Jacobins just wanted him straight away. No trial, just execute him. But the Girondins won the battle. So because of the Dormac, we've got to give people the right to a fair, free trial, which we know has not been done in the past up to this date. But the Girondins have won the argument to place King Louis on trial, as they have managed to convince many of those undecided independent voters to vote with them on this matter. Okay, so this is going to incense the Jacobins. The first time we have a massive vote and the undecided have swayed. They've been swayed by the Girondins. We can't allow this in the future. So Louis is placed on trial. Excuse me for that. Louis is placed on trial for over 30 crimes against the French people. One of them, obviously, is the act of trying to abandon your nation and join a foreign power. And if he is found guilty, he will be punished by death. The verdict was never in doubt, but it was certainly aided by the discovery of an iron chest in Tuileries Palace, which contained correspondence between King Louis and the Austrians. So if you look in Source 2 is alluding to this iron chest. So after he is taken out of Tuileries Palace and he's placed in the prison temple, of course, people are naturally going to go through the palace and sift through all these chambers and go through all these cupboards. And upon doing that, one particular chest obviously had correspondence where we can physically see that King Louis has shared strategies and has shared ideas and has implored the Austrians to come and help him. So that's what this famous picture is showing. So it's obviously showing King Louis, who is emerging out of the closet, and falling down are all his correspondence with the enemy. We have a sans-culottes with his hammer, who has obviously broken open the iron chest. And up here you will see that King Louis is being depicted as a worm. So this iron chest, obviously when he's going to get up and now try and mount his case. We have loads of evidence against him that this whole time he has been conspiring with a foreign enemy. The trial officially begins on the 10th of December 1792, and after a few weeks in which evidence was presented against King Louis, his lawyers tried to defend him, although they were given limited access to him, so the amount of time they got to spend with him was very limited. It was only momentarily. So, of course, that's not going to help you mount a case for somebody. And ultimately, the decision to sentence the king to death was just overwhelming. Once people saw these documents, the undecided independents couldn't be swayed by the Girondins anymore. They went over and sided with the Jacobins. So of 721 deputies who were present that day in Tuileries Palace, so who were present in the National Assembly that very day, 380 of them declared their support for Louis facing the death penalty, and 310 were opposed to him facing the death penalty. The matter was disastrous for the Girondins as their members were really split on the matter. So this issue of executing King Louis has divided the National Convention. It's pit friends against friends, and it's also pit political clubs against members within those political clubs against each other. So then on the 21st of January 1793, King Louis XVI is officially, so here he is without his head, but we'll get to that bit in a minute. But the time that he gets up to that guillotine, he is actually formally stripped of the title of being King Louis XVI. He is no longer the French king. He is given the common name of Louis Capet, and this is to humiliate him. To humiliate him further, they actually cut off his piggy tail. All right, so he goes up there reasonably hairless. So that's another way, because obviously long, beautiful hair was an indication of wealth and prestige. So they've basically, by cutting his hair, they are severing his privileges. He was escorted by National Guardsmen to the guillotine, which you should by now, or you should have an understanding. A guillotine is obviously a monument, a structure which is designed to put someone's head and, swiftly the head will be chopped off. Louis Capet was beheaded at Place de la Révolution, which is just a massive area where people assembled to watch these executions take place. His brutal death would help to create a divide between those who thought the revolution had gone too far, those who believed it had gone way extreme and beyond where we actually wanted to take it. And then we have people on the other side who think that we're just getting started. We're officially just ridding France of its internal and external enemies. Another reason why we obviously want to behead King Louis is by beheading him, he is no longer the head of the nation. Louis's final words were, "I hope that my blood may cement the good fortune of the French people." So of the 21st of January 1793, King Louis XVI, who had been leader since 1774, is officially executed.
Citoyen, dites-moi ce que je dois faire, monsieur. Il faut enlever votre redingote et votre cravate. Ce n'est pas nécessaire, monsieur.
Je meurs, innocent de tous les crimes dont on m'accuse. Je pardonne à ceux qui sont coupables de ma mort. Et je prie Dieu pour que le sang que vous allez répandre ne retombe jamais sur la France.